See, I think I have to do like this every time I want to talk, like or this or.
You notice
you just have to talk into it. Yeah, very strong two-handed grip.
Yeah, you gotta be strong two-handed grip.
Welcome to the night zone, hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers, ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness, tricks to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. As Evan gets his two hands gripped tight on the microphone, we are here to talk scandal again. As tonight we're going to try to get to our top 5 political scandals. We're going to talk a little bit about Epstein, what just happened, recent file releases, all the BS that the politicians are telling you. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Iraq, or in Iran and Iraq, I should say, and everywhere in the Middle East as we continue to firebomb the shit out of that country. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about AI and how useful it is and how much it's taken over our lives and if that's a good thing, a bad thing. Whose job is it eliminating? Is it eventually going to do everything that Evan can do? And finally, EvanSnaps is going to take on AI at the end as we've got quite the special occasion tonight for Evan to challenge AI on a adventure this upcoming episode. So, all that said, welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. Let's get this started. What's up, David?
Oh, not too much.
Yeah, good to hear. Evan, how about you?
Oh, it's been a whirlwind for the last week for me. New job, literally new job. Went to the Columbus. It was a shit show in Columbus. And then doing my taxes today. We're just
Look at you just playing grown up.
I don't like it. I want to be a kid again. I want to go back when I was like 12 and 13. Those are my best years of my life.
All right, well we're running late because Evan did zero research as always, so that'll make for a very exciting episode. He brings a lot of strategic advantage to the show.
Yes.
But let's start off a little bit what's going on with Iran, the updates. Obviously, we're 7-8 days into this now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Strait of Hormuz is becoming a issue as it's kind of closed down. Trump's offering, reassurance to try and open it up, but I don't think anybody wants to jeopardize sending their boats of oil.
I was just saying, there's no boats going through anymore. They need to put radar from the past 6 months ago till now, from hundreds to almost nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Iran's got that kind of, everybody was a little scared on that aspect. But we've got live data that shows that they're down about 90% on the attacks that they were doing. So they're either running out of places to launch rockets from, running out of rockets, or just starting to give up. So we'll kind of touch on that a little bit. And then obviously where we as Americans are getting affected right now, I don't know, I mean, you mentioned it to me yesterday, is at the pumps. Right? Without the oil being transferred through China and everything through that to the strait, now it's a demand is on us, and which raises oil. I think oil's up over $95 a barrel today.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. $5 a gallon for diesel.
Yeah.
Not fun for us. I think now is when you're going to start to get some kickback from America. Like, hey, this better come to an end soon because now we're paying for it.
It's definitely painful as somebody who drives a diesel powered vehicle. Yeah, to see that very sharp increase. That was like $1.20 a gallon increase. So, ouch. And then out in California, there's places it's over $8 a gallon right now.
Wow.
So it's always higher out there. But yeah, so that's absolutely painful. I do think it's temporary. I won't pretend to be an all-knowing world economist of petroleum, but just applying a little bit of common sense here. Midterm elections are coming up. It's already just a super nuclear hot political climate right now. So the administration has got a lot of tools available to them to make some changes that are going to affect gas prices. But bar none, about a fifth of the world's oil supply comes out of this region of the world. So you interrupt that supply, the demand doesn't really fluctuate. We're going into summer where the demand increases, but naturally anyway, right? We have higher prices during the summer just naturally, but the supply of anything in the world, 20% is a substantial percentage on the world stage. But so I guess my faith is, regardless of how you vote, how you feel about anything, just using some common sense here. The politicians want to stay at the party, so they're going to do something to improve this. So I don't know if you guys have looked into that, but one thing I think that's kind of interesting is that they're going to lift certain restrictions off of Russia to allow Russia to trade oil for an extended period of time here, so that will improve the overall supply in the world. And I think that's a big step. Like, I think for just, let's say world peace, which is a weird thing to say since, we're currently dropping bombs. But
Yeah.
Well, ideally, I mean, I think it's hard to say it from this point of view. And unfortunately, our world is, especially the United States, is so politically split that you're never going to look, if you're one side or the other, you're never going to look at everything as like a big picture thing, right? So what is Trump's ultimate agenda when it comes to Venezuela, when it comes to Iran, when it comes to the way he's handling Russia and Ukraine? And I think it is a world peace aspect, right? Like, hey, look, this shit is all bad and got to stop. I'm not going to enter, wars on 7 different continents with thousands or millions of troops on battle. Like, the way to do this is get people into power that are willing to work, not with just us, but the rest of our allies as well, and create an open trade, a worldwide trade market. Because frankly, that's good for everybody, not just the United States and dropping prices for us and things, but also for these other countries and digging them out of the holes that are having to be filled with us anyhow, right? So you talk about the Congo, you talk about Iran and all these countries in the Middle East. Like, if these dictators in these countries were ran better and were involved in open trade, wages would go up, life would go up, economies would increase, GDPs would increase, which would then take, we wouldn't be funding all these wars and funding all these fights across the world. So I think that's the idea. Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't just get there overnight. It's a long process. We're 18 months into, or 13 months into his presidency, 14 months into his presidency. So we'll see what that ends up entailing if that actually comes to fruition. This is going to be a great test because now with what's going on in Iran, you're starting to screw up a lot in that region. You're starting to screw China over. Their market's probably going to go crazy tomorrow, I presume, with some of the stuff that's happened over the last couple of days with bombing the different oil sites and things like that. So we'll see how that affects things. We'll see how that affects the public opinion of Trump going forward in this entire war. It's got to end quickly, though. This can't be something that goes on another 3-4 weeks.
That, I think, has I do see I see it going on for several weeks, but I see it being a lot quieter here because obviously, there's only so many military targets over there that are worth anything. But I don't think that Iran has exhausted everything they've got. I think they're just now at a point where they're conserving ammo.
Well, let's talk about that for 1 second, because one thing that you said last week is you thought that there was a nuclear potential over there.
I do still
all of a sudden, March 3rd, Steve Wilkoff comes out and says, hey, we were told when we first got over there and started negotiating that they had enough enriched uranium to create 11 nuclear weapons. Whether that's true or not, or whether we just threw that out there to kind of make it feel okay that we're bombing the absolute shit out of this country,
right?
We don't know.
Yeah.
But that was something that you said is a concern, and to you think they do have the power. They do have a nuclear weapon, just not sure on the delivery aspect of it. Then they come out and kind of confirm that, and now it's like, okay, who we're going to get into scandals later, but who's lying to who at this point? Is this now? This will be the first war that's not backed by the media. I will say that. Like, this is the first time that the media has not gotten excited about the fact that we're blowing up another country.
Well,
but it's starting to turn.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is where my spidey senses were going nuts with all of this, because, and I've said this to you guys before, and if for folks out there, if you haven't heard me say this, self-admitted complete politics nerd, here. And so the problem with living inside my head is that you have to listen to everybody, right? And it doesn't matter who your media source is. I don't care who it is, but it's 90% bullshit.
Sure.
And it's 10% facts, no matter who, even CNN. 90% bullshit. Fox News, 90% bullshit.
Well, they got to get viewers, right?
They got it. They have to. That's how they work. So, that's essentially what it comes down to. So, if you're ABC, for instance, so when I start my regiment, well, okay. So let me finish the mathematics there. So when you can only get 10% of the truth from one source, you can do the math. You have to go talk to 10 sources to get any sort of proximity to the actual story, unless you're there to witness it yourself. But at least you can take 10 different pieces and compare and contrast and put it all together. I do this every day, by the way. Unfortunately, this is how I start my day. Is usually, it's not that I'm glued to the news, but I will spend a certain amount of my time. That's how my finger's on the pulse with all of these different things, is that you can compare these things. But the reason why I bring that up is ABC in particular, who, you got Kira Phillips, you have super liberal news personalities there, but the tide turned with them already. And it's kind of like the Fox News tide turned when Trump got in his first term, where all of a sudden, at first it was no fucking way with this guy. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, hey, it's like how, Fox did that slow turn because they realized, like, oh no, we need to support this guy because it's newsworthy and we want him on our side. Well, ABC turns the corner pretty soon. Nobody is pro-war out there, but and
as a population right now, we're 60% against the strikes in Iran, which I thought was pretty surprised to see that many people against it. But you got to look at it from the sense that right-wing or conservative voters voted for Trump because he said no new wars.
Yeah.
Left-wing didn't vote for Trump, but this is a reason for them to hate Trump.
Yeah.
Because he said no new wars.
That's a balanced number too, by the way, because that's across. Because when you look at it by party, then the numbers are even more stark. But even in the Republican base, like, those numbers are beyond, like, it's 50 some odd % against, which, again, nobody wants war.
Right.
Our news cycle today, and really over the last, like, I'd say decade, like, our attention span is super short. Like, people don't realize, and they're trying to tell the story of Iran going back. Like, this is not a new problem, and we've completely forgotten everything that they've done. Maybe we should forget, but they're not looking at things that happen with them taking hostages and nothing really happening to them as a result of it, them attacking bases, them blowing up bases, and then of course all of I don't know if you watched that video, but that is a really good video.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull this up afterwards because this kind of gives a lot of perspective too on the media aspect of it and those who are pro whatever when it comes to this. Go ahead. I'm gonna key it up.
Yeah, no, this is it's funny that I'm glad that you have that, because I've been a fan of Bill Maher for a lot of years. I mean, he is more the for those that aren't familiar with him, he's definitely the 60s era Democrat. He's not. He's not today's.
To direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Pause that for a second there.
Fox News contributor Joe.
So this. I don't know if
I thought this was the actual.
Yeah. Try and see if you can find.
I will. Go ahead and talk.
While you're looking for that, so Bill Maher, old school liberal Democrat of the Kennedy era, he produced one of my favorite documentaries ever called Religulous. You guys ever watch that?
I have not.
That was a super interesting documentary, but he grew up Catholic. He tells basically his life story during this, but he made this video right after like your deployment, like right after September 11th. It's an amazing video. But anyway, so super well-known political commentator. He sets up this show with Adam Schiff.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the actual video.
Yeah.
It's like not easy. This might be it.
So he sets up that. Yeah, it might
This
be
is the whole thing though. I'm trying to find like the 5-minute clip.
Yeah, so he does this. So he has on Don Lemon, who, of course, we know who that is. And then he has Adam Schiff from California on, and he sets up this interview very, very well. That word salad from Adam Schiff there, like
how he kind of just turned it off of Libya and turned it into Syria because he didn't know
nothing.
what to do.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the genius of Bill Maher in that, like, he set it up like, can you believe this? And he says, oh wait, no, this, he's like, he kind of pulled a Columbo there. He's like,
quick thinking off of Schiff though. I'll give him that. I mean, yeah, it was a word salad, but it was quick thinking. He got it off what he originally had said thought was a Trump quote.
He was literally in that, he's in his mind right there making a political decision, because as a human being, he's like, oh yeah, that's fucking idiotic. But at the same time, he's like, but I have to answer to my party immediately after this right now. And I can't go back and say, well, yeah,
especially
Trump's
Obama
doing the same thing that Obama is doing. Like, and the numbers for Obama are staggering in terms of, drone strikes and everything. Well, and, support, like, and then the segue into you guys have got to come up with something. One thing Bill Maher does that's a little annoying is he's like the chief interruption officer. Like, he always interrupts, but he'll do it and interject it in a way that's right on that immediate point there that will shape. So it's like he should have given him a little bit of time to answer the question.
Well, I think he feels like he's talking around it, and he's like, all right, talk around this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's essentially, and he's obviously got to keep his viewers satisfied there, and there is some gotcha, but it's very intelligent. He's a brilliant dude. He's not a Don Lemon who just was a DEI hire and ended up popular amongst whatever.
Well, Don Lemon now is just doing dumb shit to keep himself kind of in the relevancy of the world news, but ultimately, I mean, who's going to like, oh, Don Lemon with another fantastic report coming out of Detroit or whatever the fuck. Like, nobody's paying attention to him unless you're looking for something scandalous because he's so against Trump. That's really all these guys have got.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Bill Maher's saying here is like, because even he's like, dude, I mean, realistically at this point, like, don't we have anything else to talk about?
Yeah.
Do we just hate everything that he's doing because his name's Trump? Or is there some other things what are you suggesting we do better?
Yeah.
Please share that with me.
That's right. That was right on message there, and that was kind of his message there. It's like, is this all you guys have? Like,
right.
That's that's the frustrating thing about all of that. And I this is going to bleed into some of the other topics that we have on deck here. Is that it's the old adage, like, if your only tool is a hammer, then everything is a nail to you, and that's really all the Democrats have right now is they don't have any fresh ideas.
No, not at all.
Like who
I mean, Trump's definitely giving him stuff to get fired back about. I mean, let's just talk about this. Let's get back on topic with Iran, because there is somewhere we can go with this next.
Yeah.
But going back to Iran, like, we're running out of military strategic bombings to do, and now we're bombing oil refineries where the oil is actually coming from. Now we're starting to create chaos in the region, not just for trade lines and things like that, and for oil being sold and et cetera, but also for the people that are actually living in Iran, right? Like, we wanted them to be able to take back their country, but what are we going to ultimately leave left in that country when we're done? Because when you're talking, like, we look at it as like, oh, they dropped ammunition. And when you look at it from a wide angle lens from miles and miles away, it looks like they dropped it on like a building and, that was it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if anybody's seen ordnance explode that's dropped from 10,000 feet above, it doesn't only take out that building, but then it essentially eliminates everything underground for like a 4 to 10 to 12 block radius. And then eventually everything around it comes down if it doesn't come down, it definitely destroys windows, blows out people's eardrums, takes out shrapnel, and there's just so many other things that are associated.
And water and
right, exactly.
electricity and Wi-Fi.
All that stuff is 100% being affected right now. So it comes to the question, like, are we still doing this for the Iranian people? Like, what are we actually blowing up at this point? Anything that you've got to add on that? Because I know the big news, obviously, this weekend has been the oil on fire, the blazing fireballs.
Well, what about, excuse me.
Go ahead.
No. What about the bombing about the children's school in Iran? Accidentally bombing about the children's school.
It's under investigation.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting one. I was going to say a couple things off of that. That's. I'm glad you brought that up. In step number one, there's, and I'm not trying to overcoin Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf's shock and awe, but there is the shock and awe. Like, the first step in an attack is going to be, I hope I don't regret saying this, but the first step is the terror factor.
Sure.
Right. So we've all been to air shows and we've all been around airplanes and everything, but I'll tell you what, it's a little different seeing something like a B-2 go overhead where, it looks like the sky is pixelated, and or, hearing things like F-22s and F-35s from 5 miles away and not having any idea where they are until, all of a sudden, kapow, they've already passed you. Right.
Sure.
So, and then there's hitting major targets and making a splash, to your point, even when you just hit a single building, you're going to potentially hit an entire neighborhood, and, you're going to have immediate impacts, and then you're going to have lasting impacts. And then, so there's a couple things here that I think are interesting, because there's a couple guys that I follow, and it's too much of a rabbit hole for today, but the folks out there can go do a little research in this. I'll let everybody know who this is, but there's a couple guys, former retired generals, that have got theories about things that have been going on in Iran leading up to this, that, some guys, and this goes a little bit into conspiracy, that, some of the stuff could have been Mossad, could have been CIA, most likely was Mossad and CIA, could have been, could have been that we accidentally targeted and hit a wrong building, AKA a school. It could be that they blew up the school themselves to create the propaganda. Like, that's the other factor here in all of this, is that it's all propaganda. Even the stuff that we're being fed is a certain, I go back to that 90% bullshit, 10% accuracy. So it's absolutely unfortunate that, any civilian out there is going to lose their life at all, let alone a school full of children, or a hospital, or, what have you. Like, that is the unfortunate downside to war, is that civilians completely innocent are going to die. That's the unfortunate reality of it.
Well, I think for those that are looking for talking points, like, these are easy to bring up, like a school might have been accidentally targeted, or the fact that over 10,000 civilians have been injured in some way or form, over 1,300 killed, or some of the statistics, right? But let's not forget, this is the same Iranian regime who killed between 20 and 40,000 civilians just a couple of months ago for protesting.
Well, so
against them.
That's one of the things this general is saying, that that was not the IRGC, that was Mossad that showed up and delivered. That's a complete conspiracy theory.
Of course.
I'm sharing both sides of it, right? So I have what I believe, but and is there a potential for some false flag operations in there? Absolutely.
100%.
On both sides. Like, so.
Well, and let's not, like, the other aspect of this too is, we talked about this just last week. Like, you can't even believe anything that you're seeing. There's so many, like, fake accounts, parody accounts, AI involved videos. And, we're going to talk about a little about AI here in a little bit, but, like, AI is so robust and so powerful. I could literally show whatever I want if I, take enough time to build it out and have it look like somebody's being bombed specifically over there, and seeing children running out of there with, they're on fire. So, when we talk about these different things, it's hard to understand, because we as Americans feel like we should be able, like, we have people running around with cell phones everywhere. We have, like, when something happens, it's filmed 100 different angles by,
Yeah.
So for us to not comprehend, like, this is a country where they could shut the internet off whenever they wanted, and the civilian population had no access to the outside world. So what you see is very controlled out of this continent of the world, or this country out of the world. So it's really even more so difficult. All you can really believe is what you're being shared with in press conferences and things like that. And we like to hope that we can believe our government and that the things that they're saying are accurate. I did pull up because I know there's a lot of statistics going on right now about the declining of like rockets being fired out of Iraq. So day 1, they apparently fired 428 missiles. Day 2 was down to 170. Day 3 back up to 186. Day 4, 108. Day 5, 42 missiles. And then now we're saying they're launching less than 20 missiles per day.
Yeah.
So obviously, when we hear that they're still doing damage, these are probably way more strategically fired missiles. They're not going to be going for the main big targets that they might have been before because they're not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for Israel to shoot down 2 rockets than it is 100. Or it's a lot easier for some of our other Kuwait and things like that to defend against 1 or 2. So
are they including drones in those?
No, this is just rockets being fired.
Okay.
2,000 drones have been fired or launched so far. Over 500 ballistic missiles. Iran has increasingly switched to drones and smaller attacks rather than large missile. Missile barrages. Let's see. Trying to see if I can.
I was just curious if how those numbers, because they've been using those $20,000 to $30,000 drones, which they can launch, I mean, almost by hand, like by human beings, as opposed to we've been targeting their missile delivery rigs.
So initially it was over 100 daily drones. They've launched 2,000 total drones since the beginning. Over 689 drones were launched toward the UAE, but 645 were intercepted by air defense. Some daily waves now include 10 to 40 drones at a time. They appear to be shifting from massive barrages to smaller sustained attacks, which makes sense.
Here's how I want to curveball this on both you guys here for just a second.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you feel about the Iranian president going on TV to apologize to the neighbors for missiles and drones being sent in their direction?
I think it goes upon deaf ears.
Okay.
I think it's kind of trying to save face, trying to make themselves like approach this as they want to create an opportunity for negotiations.
Yeah.
But I think they also want to turn it into like this continent versus the West.
Here comes your curveball. Since you mentioned AI, I think it was fake.
You think so?
I think it was fake?
I think it's absolutely fake.
Oh, okay.
That's my feeling about it. When has
Iran apologized for anything that
any
they've done,
world leader anywhere gone publicly on TV to? First of all, let's rewind this back a little bit.
Well, didn't they say we're killing? They were making claims they were bombing like United States. They sunk a ship or something a few times? They went.
I saw that just in social media, but just rewinding back here a little bit. So the areas that they're attacking are places we have bases. So we have a base in Qatar that's been hit outside of Doha. Our base in it's funny, we're looking at it on the map. I talked about Riyadh. They hit that base, and that's the this place that they got the six soldiers at. So they're targeting things. But now here's an interesting one. They intercepted a missile that was destined for Turkey. And why is that interesting? Why is that significant in this? It's 2 reasons.
Why is that involved in or significant to this apology specifically?
That too, but the entire thing here.
Because I don't think anything's been launched from Turkey.
Not only, aircraft have, because we have a base there.
I'm aware of that, but I don't even. Yeah, I guess they probably have fired aircraft from Turkey, but
we've launched. We're operating out from Turkey in part of this. But here's the other thing that most people sort of just not thinking about. Turkey's a member of NATO. Correct. So what happens when Iran fires a weapon
interesting.
on a NATO country?
So they did or did not fire on a NATO country?
They intercepted a rocket that was targeting inside of Turkey.
Interesting.
And so that was about I think maybe it was during the week here, maybe might have been exactly a week ago, but so they intercepted, they shot it down, and it still landed within borders of Iran, but they were with its trajectory and everything, it was aiming in that direction. But
Interesting.
So here's the thing where I say, and again, I'm just getting a little bit conspiracy theory mode here for just a moment here. Feel free to interrupt if you
this
find
was
that.
from, so March 4th, Turkey reported ballistic missile launch from Iran entered or was heading towards Turkish airspace. NATO air defense systems intercepted and destroyed the missile over eastern Mediterranean. Before it could hit anything, the missile had traveled across Iraq and Syrian airspace before being intercepted, which is kind of surprising. No casualties or damage reported, blah, 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 blah. This is where it gets murky. Turkey and NATO initially treated as a potential targeting incident. Iran denied targeting Turkey, saying it was attacks were aimed at U.S. and Israeli military installations, not Turkish territory.
Which is what they would say.
Right. Turkey is important because it's a NATO member. If Iran intentionally attacked, blah, blah, blah. It's unclear if Turkey itself was the target.
So
they do deny, and Iran specifically identifies that they or denies.
So we have a smoking gun right there. Like, we could easily be, at NATO saying,
Article 12.
Oh, yep. So here we go. Right. So we're not playing that card at the moment. So that's, I guess, probably a card that can still be played. Maybe it'll get played. But here's the thing I think that's interesting about all of it. I think that, I guess, my spidey senses are going because, all right, Iran's pretty fucked right now. They're realizing, okay, well, this is the end. So then what? Are we going to just sacrifice everything? Fuck all these people. There's nearly 100 million people that live there. Fuck them. Whatever. We don't care. Let's just
we've always thought that was the possibility from day one. I think that's why the attacks have been so bountiful. And it was Article 5, not Article 12, sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's why the attacks have been so bountiful, is because we wanted to eliminate that possibility as much as possible.
That they would
because
just say,
we
fuck
do have
everybody
so
then.
many countries in that territory that we have relationships with, alliances, partnerships, financially, et cetera. Like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait specifically, obviously Israel. These are three countries that we depend on heavily for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I definitely think that that plays a key part.
Here's the bigger part in have been to the Middle East. Evan has DNA from the Middle East.
Yes, I do.
You've been
Yes, I do.
You've been to the Middle East
a few times.
So I think that what we want to believe about the Muslim population is that, and I'm not discounting that there's, the extremist there. I'm not discounting that at all. They exist. But to, I guess, manifest the destiny of 100 million people and just say, well, here comes the Americans. They're the devils. They're going to kill us anyway, but we're going to kill as many of them on the way out. I don't really see them being able to take 100 million people that are impoverished and imprisoned. Like, I see the inmates taking over the asylum there at some point. And so that's why I kind of call into question, in an act of desperation, they're not attacking us. They're attacking bases. They're sending drones into areas that they can reach, and they're inflicting pain. Or maybe there's a cyber warfare aspect of this.
Very possible.
Maybe, potentially, maybe we're, accessing these devices and firing them and changing their courses and sending them where we want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we certainly benefit from them sending drones into UAE or, into Doha or any of these places out there. Certainly a missile or a rocket that's, aimed toward, a NATO country that, then we can say, oh, it was on the way. We shot it down. Title 5. So then here we go.
Right.
And then we're sending the UK back into this area to manage it.
We'll see. A lot of questions.
There's
a lot
your
of
curveball,
questions.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much involved right now, and it's still early on. Right, this started the last day of February, I think. So today's the 8th. So 9 days into this, I think Trump really wanted to start winding this down by week 2. So the fact that we're almost ramping it up, talking about troops, will there be? I mean, I don't think there'll be troops on ground unless NATO's involved.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, well, again, and I just threw a pretty big curveball. You guys didn't even question that, but I mentioned the UK. I think the UK, they play a role in this eventually here, because I think initially right up front,
completely against it.
completely against what's their current prime minister's name? It just fucking slipped my mind. But yeah, he was like doing like two pressers a day on this of like, no, we're not involved. We're not going to get involved with this. But Starmer, thank you.
Go.
I think I think they play a role at ground level at some point that probably has to do with, you know, management of petroleum. But yeah, the AI and the tech and everything that's going in with this, there is what I think is a pretty credible video that explains a lot with the entire thing. I think I sent it to you earlier.
Did you send it through text?
I texted it to you. I think this video probably outlines.
No, I do not have it. I have the Clinton one. We're gonna get into that. Unless you sent it to me.
Oh no, hold on. Let me send this one. This man, and for everybody out there.
Well, as far as curveball, when you talk, you know, there's nothing to say that U.S. isn't involved in some technology. I mean, the things that we could do technology wise, even now they're talking about laser defenses. Isn't it interesting how all these people had headaches and all this in Venezuela and all the rumors, and then all of a sudden, no comment. But now that we're in Iran and they're talking about laser beams and being able to like instantly just disintegrate weapons as soon as they're launched, basically in place. And it's like, wow, we're sharing a lot of this information about technology all of a sudden. Is this like a warning, like, hey, China, before you get fucking itchy over there and start doing something stupid, like we can fucking blow you up from the fucking space, bro. SpaceX was created for a reason.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely that. I guess that's my final note on where we're at with everything, and we'll, you know, obviously we're going to keep track of this. I mean, the whole entire world is watching this thing, but like,
I don't even know what I'm about to watch.
This is legit. This is not AI. This is a lot of everything is about to be explained in this video. But before, I would say that you have to use a bigger imagination. Not us. We talk about this a lot, but for all of y'all out there, you have to use a little bit more imagination of the tactical level of strikes that we've done just in this last year, like Venezuela. And what that meant. And, you know, they've been pretty open and pretty notorious about this is an economic strike on China and Russia. Well, you need to look at Iran through the same lens. And then, so I mentioned it earlier in that, okay, so now we've opened up some trade with Russia to be able to enact the world supply. So then,
well, you have Venezuela too, pumping out twice as much oil as it was when that was taking place. So they've already started to increase the flow of trade in the world.
Venezuela is going to see more money in their economy than they've ever seen. It's just going to be a matter of efficiency and better management.
Correct.
But thinking about how Russia plays into this really quickly, in that everything is quid pro quo. We don't just call up Putin and say, all right, dude, we're going to let you start selling oil just because, you know, we want our fucking gas prices to be cheaper back in the States. Like, you know, not in the admin, but just a guy with some common sense that it's a deal. There's some sort of deal there, and it most likely involves probably the removal of Zelensky, and it's probably, you know, Russia, we're redrawing the map. There's no situation where we don't redraw the map in Iran out of this. It's completely impossible to not redraw lines and move real estate around. Like, so while we've got the, you know, markers out, let's just redraw a little bit of Ukraine, and, you know, we're going to move some of Russia in, and we're going to move some of Ukraine this way. Zelensky, you're fucking out. Like, you know, you can go live in Beverly Hills and, you know, drive a Tesla and have a nice life, but, you know, they're going to get them. Be an actor.
Get your own sitcom.
Go back to being an actor.
Yeah. Well, then, go ahead.
Yeah, and then, but just to round that point out, you got to think about, well, you know, why would we go through all of this? And so, we as the U.S., as the guys who've always been the biggest bullies, we can't allow there to be a continued alliance between places like Venezuela, Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. Like, it just can't happen.
Right.
Like, there's just far
They're only
going
to get stronger over time, and with more and more becoming tech efficient, and with more tech being involved, like, you're not going to have to worry about their missile capabilities. You know, there's going to be other ways for them to get at us. And for instance, allowing 20,000 illegal immigrants into the country. I mean, things or whatever. So it's like, there's so many aspects to it. The one thing I did want to say is, for those who hate Trump, thank God Biden or Kamala Harris is not in presidency right now. You could say that this wouldn't have happened, but it could have been way worse, frankly. And it's incredible. It's incredible to watch Trump operate so many different pieces of the chessboard right now. I can only imagine what it's like to sit across the table from him at the afternoon and have a daily briefing on all the different talks that he's involved in. It's got to be like something that's, remarkable, because seeing him handle it, like, he's not caught off guard in a press conference.
Right.
And you know that these people that are in there for media, other than Fox and Peter Ducey, like, most of them are in there trying to have a gotcha moment with the president, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Levitt, right? Is it Levitt?
Yeah.
The press secretary.
Caroline Levitt.
Like, everybody's trying to get a got you moment, and these folks are so on point. And it just makes me think of the last 4 years, because there's been a bunch of comments on one of the posts that I just recently had, 50,000 views, and a lot of it was like, oh, they hate Trump, blah blah blah, or they love Trump and they hated this, and then Trump's so bad, he's a child rapist, he's all this, he's this and that, and it's like, do you know who we had in the presidency the 4 years before it? Like, could you imagine him
sniffer guy?
Just imagine him walking out of Air Force One, stumbling down the fucking steps as he nearly breaks his fucking neck to go, Iran bad. And then not know what to say. Or would it be even worse when Kamala Harris came to the podium and it was, we bombed them. We bombed those motherfuckers.
I need to unbomb what hasn't been unburdened.
All right, so we got this video. What am I walking into?
One more quick note because this actually hit our post, but from the things you just said about everything. I said that when your only tool is a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So that is sort of like in the anti-Trump category there, sure. Everything is his problem. But fun fact for everybody out there, you guys have any idea how many people work in the Pentagon? You guys know what the Pentagon does, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do a lot of things, but I would say
Right.
is it north of 8,000?
Yeah.
I was going to say 5,000.
Yeah. So it is the longest continuous building, first of all, because, it's in rings,
Yeah.
right? So longest in the world. But so it's where DOD, DOW, it's basically where all of the top military, it's where Pete Hegseth's office is in the Pentagon, right? So
it's military operations.
it's the tip of the spear in terms of our military operations. There are over 20,000 full-time employees who work in that building, and they do nothing other than defense and war strategies and everything. And we're never not doing anything in those regards, right? I mean, people can go out and Google what we have in terms of aircraft and everything. Okay, so that was the first trivia question for that. That's just people who work in the building. Do you have any idea how many people work actually in, let's call it defense operations? Let's be polite. War operations, but defense operations.
Are you keeping troops out of it?
Well, they would be part of the machine. So let's include them.
Include troops.
Yeah.
I'd say, God, it's got to be in the millions.
It is in the millions, but I don't know what our troop count is at right now. I'd say it's got to be like somewhere between 8 and 12 million.
Yeah, so it's 3.6 million
I was guessing
hold on. 3.6 million non-military, non-combatant, sure, but non-military personnel. 3.6 million people.
Civilians.
So then you add the troop count onto it, and I think then you're up there at getting into 10 mil plus. But so keyboard warriors out there and people have opinions and want to say, oh, Trump just wants to do this, and he just on a whim goes and decides he's going to do this. Well, I'm not saying he doesn't do those things, because he certainly does. But I will tell you this. The guy has millions of people, 3.6 million civilians that do nothing but live and breathe and work and do the shit.
Strategy.
And it's, and these are the most brilliant people on the planet. You think, they probably employ some dummies over there, but I promise that the guy who came up with the strategy to go into, it's not a guy, it's the team that came up with the strategy to go into Venezuela, the team that came up with the strategy to go into Iran right now, or it's a plan that's been at work for years, not just last week. They went to Chat GPT and said, what would be the best way to, go in?
Although
maybe one day that would be possible.
2.8 million troops, by the way, including reserves. All right, what is this video?
Oh, this is definitely not AI. This is very telling. This is 100% legit. Let's just roll it. 80s.
This is like a rock war number two. I rock war number two. I like the look of those oil supplies. I'd be ashamed if someone invaded you. If someone invaded you. And I ran so far away. Bomb I ran, I bombed them night and day. But destroy USA.
That's great.
80s music fans. So
I love that.
You cannot hate the AI. You know what? You cannot hate the AI Trump. I mean, he's all over the place right now, from bitch slapping the fucking former president to more. So, we've got to speed this along because we've took a little bit longer than I expected us to. But going into AI, let's transition. You got something?
Well, I got something about AI. Before we talk about it, I sent you a video on Guys Night on the Instagram. It's about quantum computers and AI being worked into it.
All right. Well, then we'll.
It's a minute video. It's like a minute 20 video about it. Microsoft launched a chip last year that they're hoping to not activate but start using this chamber. So it's kind of scary.
is it this?
Is the coldest place in the known universe. More than 40 times colder than interstellar space, but what's it actually cooling? Last week I got a call from Microsoft.
I can't really share much on the phone, but we have something pretty incredible coming up that I think you'll want to see.
Next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Seattle, hopping into a car, and before I knew it, inside a lab at an undisclosed location. It was here that I finally got to see what this was all about. It was here that I got to see the Majorana 1, Microsoft's extreme breakthrough in quantum computing and the result of nearly 20 years of hard work. This team was able to control a subatomic particle that was only theorized until now, creating an entirely new material and a new architecture for quantum computing that's able to fit 1 million qubits onto this little chip.
This thing will have more computational power in it than all the combined computational power in the planet.
Okay, but what does this actually mean? Well, a normal computer can only process things in
the
bits,
aliens
basically
that are going
1,
to kill
0,
us.
0, whereas a quantum computer uses qubits that can be both in that 1 and 0 state at the exact same time. Imagine a maze. A computer mouse has to go in each direction one at a time to find the end. But a quantum mouse can go in all directions at the same time. The more qubits you have, the more quantum mice you have that can explore these exponentially many paths at the same time, solving the maze much, much faster. To put this all in perspective, the largest quantum computer that we have right now has a little over 1,000 qubits, and to expand this, it would take up football fields of space. But this new Majorana 1 chip will be able to house 1 million qubits in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, and Microsoft,
this chamber is the coldest
Microsoft
place.
is planning to try to use that with AI.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. I'd have to read a lot more up on that. If that's,
Yeah.
obviously it's accurate. The guy that seems like he's well-spoken enough and not just creating that out of AI, but that'd be pretty impressive to have that kind of computing power in the palm of your hands. Now, that's something we'll never have access to. But
The problem is with running something like that, that's why they need a cold tank.
Yeah,
because it heats up so
of course,
fucking fast.
Yeah, just editing videos on my MacBook Air over here.
Turns it into
a fucking brick pizza oven over here.
dude, no shit.
Have you guys watched the series called Pluribus?
I have not.
No.
It's on Apple TV. If you don't have Apple TV, it is that show alone is worth subscribing. Apple, pay me for that, fuckers. But Pluribus. So my buddy Aaron just brought something up with it, but it's made. It was written and it's produced by the guys. Vince Carter, who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So it's got some of the characters from that universe, but it's also filmed with that same interest. But you pull up see if you could pull up see if they have a trailer for it.
Right,
I'm sure they do, and then we can move on. But I bring it up because it's sort of there's something something that you mentioned like in this.
What is it called?
Pluribus. PLUR. There it is, right
Because
there.
I love AI. I love quantum computers.
Just see if they have a trailer.
There you
That's
go.
probably it.
Good morning, Carol. Is there anything we could do to cheer you up?
Just an AI-based life.
Out your head up high.
Hey, Carol.
We just want you to be happy.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly, what would you like to know?
How do I reverse all this?
What happens when you ask AI?
Rest assured, Carol, we will figure out what makes you different
Figure it out. Why?
so you can join us.
What the
So what is it like? They're all connected. It's like a hive mind. Well, I've seen stuff like that about hive mind.
We would move
So
heaven and earth to make you happy. If I asked right now, would you give me a hand grenade?
Yes.
What about a bazooka?
Mm-hmm.
What about a tank?
Oh, sure.
I gotta check that out tonight. I'm gonna watch.
Evan's finished. We won't hear from him for a week.
I'm telling you, like, I'm not. You guys know I'm not a big TV guy, but occasionally there's shows that just fit into my mind. And yeah, somebody, my buddy Aaron, suggested that, and I was like, fuck yeah, you can watch the first episode for free and then decide. And then I subscribed to Apple TV right then and there. It's like it is worth it for that, and then binge watch the rest of it, and it's fucking amazing. Like,
awesome.
But yeah.
All right, well, we got to move on to the next part of this. We're running short on time. I was going to go into AI now, so maybe that's the point of time we get it. So is AI a tool or monster? I mean, this is a great example as you talk about this TV show to kind of segue into this and how AI is utilized on a day-to-day basis by anybody. So I'd like to hear how you guys are using AI on a day-to-day basis. Let's start with you, Evan.
Mostly I use AI to research a lot. Research, read, and believe it or not, people ask me, do I use AI to edit photos? No, photos or videos. Really not much so. The only AI I use is probably the erase tool on my thing. It erases and then it replaces it with skin color or whatever, but that's all I do for AI.
White people, black people.
So I could do that too. I could do that. I could do that with other changes, but mostly I use mine. But everybody uses AI on their phone and not even realizes it because it's automatically pre-built in your phones anymore.
Yeah,
sure, into the cameras specifically.
Cameras, laptops, even some of your devices at home. So like come on, you Google your was
Alexa.
it Alexa?
Yeah, I use Alexa. She's got a little bit of AI baked into her, which is really helpful. So you kind of just use it on a little limited basis, which is interesting. You mentioned though that you use it to do research. So
yes,
let me ask you both this real quick before we get into your uses of it, David. Has AI taken over Google as instead of saying Google it, are you saying ChatGPT it now?
I use Google. I use Google on my phone.
I think you're asking more like the mnemonics of it. Like, like, man, do you have any Kleenex as opposed to do you have a tissue?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Like, brand of AI you like to use?
So like, for instance, if you're going to buy a new camera, do you go to Google and say, what's the best camera from Canon? Or do you go to ChatGPT and ask it, what's the best Canon camera?
Use multiple search engines.
But where do you start?
I start at Google. Always been Google.
You started Google
all the time.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's going to be most people because that's the resident search engine on your phone. But I think to your point that, Gemini has basically hijacked its way into it. So when you're Googling something, you're not even aware that you're also searching Gemini. Because that's the first curated response at the top now is,
Gemini response. And it says that. AI, and you can turn it on and off.
You can.
So for me, I go to ChatGPT or Grok first, honestly. And with Grok, I'll literally have a comment, like I'll have a conversation with Grok because I can sit there in my office while I'm thinking of something, and be like, well, what if this happens? And then how does this affect that? And what's the best layout for this? And like I can have an entire conversation. It's like I'm speaking to somebody, but I don't even use Google anymore, unless maybe I'm going to Google to be like, to look up a website or to find out pricing. But like when I'm doing research now on a product, on something for work, on a competitor, on anything like that, I use ChatGPT and Grok because frankly, it's like the next step, right? For instance, okay, so let's say you're looking up best cameras. When you Google it, what do you usually see?
I see the top 3
Ads.
best the ads and top 3 cameras.
You see ads, and then you see when you say you don't just see the top 3 cameras. It usually has articles or YouTube videos on guys that are doing it. So when I go to ChatGPT, I could say, based on recent reviews, based on the fact that I'm looking to do a startup photographer, that I'm looking to get into this, but I want to shoot 4K. What would you recommend, or what is recommended to me and as the top 3 cameras? And then what is recommended by the highest reviews, and then I can get a breakdown on a side-by-side in 30 seconds without having to read all of those articles and watch all of those videos.
Yeah.
And that's just one example, but I was interested to hear that you guys say Google, because I literally go straight to ChatGPT.
Well, do you use the premium or do you use the cheap free version?
I just upgraded the premium a couple of months ago, because frankly, the fact that the stuff that it can do visually that I use on the podcast and things like that it would take me hours to edit this.
Yes. Now,
like to create like some of the images that I've done, it would take hours and hours to create that. And I would literally have to learn an entire skill as far as how to create and edit photos for a variety of things, whether it's during the sportscast or sports podcast where we're pulling up our draft boards, or when it's during this podcast, if I want to create a thumbnail for a short or something like that. For me to spend all that time doing that and be able to work my full-time job I wouldn't have any time for my wife or family.
What do you think Chat GPT would say about your constant adjusting of your microphone?
It would probably tell me that we can ask, hey, Chat GPT, what's a good amount of times to here? Let's see what.
But I love AI because
I couldn't even ask the question with a straight face. Damn it!
Because what is good amount of times to adjust microphone through a 2-hour podcast?
Holy hell!
Oh shoot! I texted that to Evan.
What? Yeah, there you go. Oh well, hey.
Oh man, that's funny.
Let's copy and paste it.
For a 2-hour podcast, the ideal number of microphone adjustments is as close to 0 as possible. Most professional shows only adjust at 0 to 2. Well, we're not professionals. We don't pretend to be or act it on TV.
But when it comes to AI, I use it every day, no matter what occasion. At work, relaxing, video editing, even research, and even.
So you do use it for video editing?
I use it barely, because I do a color adjustments.
Yeah.
And color adjustments for video editing are fucking, I excuse my language, but it's just insane anymore. I know people have built like templates for it, for their videos and stuff. I'm just now learning it, and even then, I do research. I ask Google or Grok on what are the best video editor people to follow to step-by-step processing. But it helps me with my dyslexia when I have to read something or the breakdown of a word. I just ask Grok or Google.
Yeah.
What about you, David? Do you find yourself starting to do more and more research, and like even tonight when we're preparing for a show, right? Like, how much are you asking it for information that then you can go second guess and second,
I guess I want to take the advice of Elon Musk, who views it as something that's going to take over the simplest jobs for us and make our lives better. I have my frustrations with it from a creative perspective, because I do enjoy writing and creating. But it's absolutely a paramount tool in going back, because as you guys know, I torture you with my, useless facts all the time. Like my brain just stores this bullshit from years ago. But at the same time, then, I do, it's like, I gotta make sure, of the Mandela effect of like going back and like, so for me to, source, like, we were talking about things with like Richard Nixon, I just, went to the Nixon library with the guys like a few weeks ago in Cali, and we got a video coming. But like with all the things with that, where it's like, well, shit, I mean, I was barely alive. He was in his first term. I wasn't alive. I was alive during his second term. But, I had to, I have to like go back and like source those things. Like, okay, hold on. Am I making this shit up? Like, I don't have the time to go like open a book and reread an entire book to remember what I read in a book, 30 fucking years ago, like in college. So, so I've increasingly using it for, let's say research, but it's also just kind of comparing against, my own memory of things and organizing things. Used it a little bit in creation, definitely in video editing. I mean, thinking about like taking videos and removing backgrounds and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, I could sit there with the mouse and remove a background and circle it, but I can also just click a button and then AI can do it in one snap, and I can then move on to, you know, adding dicks and stuff into the video that takes me real time. You know, I've yet to ask AI to add a dick to something, but maybe tomorrow
they actually have
AI dicks.
No, not AI dicks. When I was editing Bikini Girl in Adobe Photoshop, AI was not allowed to edit certain parts of the body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's stipulations. Like you cannot add certain things. You cannot delete.
No chicks with dicks.
No chicks with dicks.
Chicks
Thank
with
you.
dicks, and a few other things. I was trying to remove some of the nipple they were showing through one of the bikinis, and it will not erase it. It will not. It says it said some kind of guidelines.
Well, AI is a man. Then, if you're not allowed to erase a nipple, I support this message.
So I'm trying to because I accidentally forgot to edit a little nipple slip, and she posted it.
A slipple.
A little slipple nipple, and and she posted it without even looking at the photo, and she got Instagram jail for a week. Yeah,
I feel like Instagram lets you put fucking murders on there. I'm surprised a nipple slip would fucking.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, she got.
Sometimes I wonder about the people that you do photos with.
Slipples.
Mic adjustment.
Maybe we have an idea for a new channel here. Like, you know, if EvanSnaps slows down at all, I mean, no, it's really growing, but if that slows down, we could have a new channel called Slipples.
Slipples.
It's just nothing but nipple slips.
All right. So what about you guys using it in your daily habits and your daily schedules? Do you guys utilize it at all for that?
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do? How are you using it? Because last week you lost a in your EvanSnaps versus AI battle to set up a schedule. So how are you utilizing it? Because for someone like yourself, honestly, who's terrible at setting up schedules, really terrible at researching,
terrible at arriving on time.
Yeah,
Whoa.
and also terrible at dieting for being a diabetic. AI can really be extremely beneficial to you. So how are you using it? Is this new?
No. I've used it for a few things. Mostly just like scheduling and stuff because I put it in my calendar for like doctor's appointments and stuff, and it'll send me a message saying you have an appointment a week out.
Reminders. That's not AI.
Yeah, but then then the AI will automatically like plug it into my phone when it's like time to go to the doctor.
None of that is AI at all.
That's all calendar. I mean, if that's the case, then I'm an AI pro because everything I do is on my calendar 100%.
I am trying to get better at the calendar. So it's incredible what you can really ask AI. Like there are some habits that I was trying to break and some things like that. And when it comes to me using the Habit app, I use Bloom, which if you haven't heard of Bloom, it's like a card that you can set it up to like create schedules for yourself when you're not allowed to utilize certain features on your phone, basically to break social media addictions and different phone addictions. It was crazy. Like the one morning, I had like 132 pickups before 9 a.m. 132 times I picked up my phone, but my screen time was only 6 minutes because I wasn't allowed to use anything that I was going to pick it up for. And I was like, wow, I would have easily spent an hour and a half on my phone. So anyways, I'll utilize AI to create a schedule. Okay, like what do I put in my habit tracker if I want to break this? How do I want to create habits? This, etc. I even used it for my family meeting that we have on every Sunday when like my wife and daughter get together and like discuss it. I have AI break out like what we want to discuss, how to set it up, how to just bring it up in a certain way, and then I'll add that into Gamma, which is a slide deck proposal tool, and it'll take everything from ChatGPT or Grok, whoever I'm using, and then create my whole basic spreadsheet, or not spreadsheet, but slide deck on it. So I'm fully engulfed in the AI world right now, even from creating our schedule that we're way behind on right now, but setting that up as far as like having the idea and then having it put it into an episode format so that it makes it easy to put notes and keep us on track and time and stuff like that. Obviously, it still requires you to do the work, but I do think it's easier. Now it's funny because with us about to have the birth of my daughter, it's like, okay, if I want to have my daughter be interested in like riding dirt bikes, doing MMA, also being competitive cheer, and like it'll literally break out what toys to buy and when to bring them out to your kid and what sports to get them involved in at certain ages and what to focus on. So it's interesting because
how to groom your own child.
Yeah, essentially, right? And it's interesting when you look at it though, because ultimately you still have to do the work.
Yeah.
But I think there was a point in time where you weren't you didn't have access to that information. You kind of just had to figure it out. And now you're able to get so much information with just a quick question. It's definitely, it's definitely going to be the wave of the future. And like you said, it's a tool that everybody has to be able to use. I don't think you're going to be able to be efficient and successful in whatever jobs you do in the future without at least having it as a tool that you know how to use to some degree. Right.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, the discipline and the practice is where it's going to land. I mean, it's interesting that I automatically think about how it's going to shape the future. And so, I don't have kids because I still pull out.
AI doesn't tell you to do that.
No, I should start asking AI when the right time to, if we could work that in, but if you,
when based off of this data on this woman, should I trap her?
Right. Yeah. And what is her true ovulation? It's funny is that, girls, there's most women track that.
Yes.
Nowadays, and there's just so much of that
There's an
data
app for
could be
that.
used. There is, and that Apple pay us, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
That's
right.
their term, by the way. No, but it's interesting you think about how that's going to impact the world later on. I mean, again, I don't have kids, so my legacy is going to end with me or my dogs, and at least, well, I don't know. I guess I'm still intact, so I guess there's still time to have kids, ladies. But I digress. No, but you think about how this would just say, let's impact, professional sports. Like, so, okay, if you're Bronny James and you're born, into, that environment of, your father's, NBA player, and your father's got all this access to the healthcare and equipment and training and all of that stuff, right? Doesn't mean you're automatically going to be an NBA player, but if you have an interest in that, you're, the road is already paved. You could follow along, and you could potentially even, improve upon it, or die trying. Remember that time he almost died on the court, right? So that's we got to keep people entertained here. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, but if you think about, like you just mentioned here, like, if you have something in mind for, your child, like, let's just say that, let's say that you come from a family of fuck ups and addicts, like, and when you had your, your first daughter was born, what was your education in being a father?
Zero.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing out there. Like,
don't break it.
Right. Yeah. The hospital, there's no, it's not really, your training course is how you were raised. Well, if you came from a challenged family, you're going to have to very quickly figure it the fuck out. Like, yeah, there's books and you could talk to people and whatever, but there's now things in place that, can put any child like on the right. Like that's an pretty incredible use of AI moving forward. Is it corruptible?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, one, you have to know what questions you want to ask based off the responses you're hoping for, right? And then two, you're going to cross-check those things. Like, are these truly the best tools? Is this really the best option? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
And then eventually it'll become to the point where you'll be feeding this into 2 or 3 different AIs. You'll be getting your different answers. This is a lot of what I do now. Like, I'll get answers from Grok, I'll get answers from ChatGPT, and then I'll kind of come up with my own basis for whatever I'm trying to accomplish. And then I'll either reprogram both of them to redo it based off of my input, or I'll kind of merge them into one, or I'll say, I like some of this, I like some of this. And I think it just becomes a matter then of like, which ones become the most trusted, which ones give you the most valuable information, and then which ones do you have the best opportunity of actually putting the information to use? Meaning, does something tell you like, oh, basically go spend $1 million on this, and then you can get this, and then you can do that? Or does one say like, hey, with the least amount of money, at least amount of functions, this is the best way to do it, and it works? So I think that'll all become stuff that, comes into process. And our whole podcast is essentially edited by Adobe Pro and their AI tool for their multi-camera editor. I mean, without that, I would literally need an entire day to edit this podcast. In fact, with that note, I'm going to take a piss break. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. Hey, one thing I was thinking about while I was taking a leak was if AI could make my dick bigger. No, seriously,
you actually can make it bigger.
What?
Oh, here we go. Don't. Please tell me how AI can make.
No, AI can't make it, but there's a way to make it bigger naturally.
So why would you
What?
say AI can make it big?
Oh.
Did he not say AI?
He
can-
absolutely
True.
said AI. Rewind
True.
it back right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said it.
No, but I was thinking even where I used AI recently was, looking for a used car for my daughter. Some of the cars, like, I don't know what the history is since I've been out of the business for the last 5 years. So it's like very simple to like, hey, tell me what the overall quality is of this vehicle. What are major concerns? What are long-term service history? What are big recalls, et cetera? And it'll give me a complete breakdown on any vehicle that I put in there. I can even include the VIN number to get even more specific. And it's incredible, like how much research it can do. Now, obviously, some of that stuff you have to then go back and look into and like maybe ask a buddy, ask a couple of questions, a mechanic, somebody else to make sure it's not just stuff. But I mean, it's reading every bit of information that's on the internet at any given time, right? So it's like to have that much computer power, and then you talk about that chip that they're trying to build. You get that much computing power into AI, like you're going to be able to like create an hour documentary using my face, and David's face, and Evan's face on why the war in Iran failed, and like it'll do that whole thing at that point. It's to where it's going to be in 10 years from now. Just think about where it's gone in we've been doing this podcast for a year and a half almost, right?
Yeah.
The original logos that I was suggesting for the podcast based off what AI
With
created,
the extra legs and stuff. sticking out
versus what it creates now. It's like, wow, it's changed a lot in a year. So we'll see with the more information it's getting feeded. All right, we're down to about 30 minutes here that we got to narrow this down. So
Slipples.
I wanted to finalize this before we get into this. It's just to bring up Epstein a little bit. And I know that you've got a video to bring up with the Clinton recently being on the stand, and I'll have to look at when we'll pull this up here. But I wanted to share before that all this talk about Epstein, and it's become very political, very bipartisan in the sense of each side's got their own story of the reason why. I find it interesting that, one, we create a law that's supposed to release everything, and it's supposed to be completely unredacted other than regarding the
victims'
names.
And ongoing investigations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which then it becomes kind of questionable if it is. And then somehow Congress has access to go in and see the completely unredacted files, which to me sounds like a nightmare because you have now what is going on, which is Democrats saying, oh, it basically implies these 5 people. I can't believe these names are unredacted. I can't believe they're not included. Oh, who's in the files that's under the redacted names? Oh, well, I can't really mention that. I'm not prepared to mention that. It's like, okay, well, if you can't believe it, you have this access. Why are you not? You're not signing NDAs, I don't believe, before they go down there. Or is that something that was taken that I didn't hear that anywhere, that they had to sign an NDA before they enter this and have access to these real files, which is funny. Real quick, I just picture like this line of congressmen and congresswomen all excited to get their gotcha moment as they're about to enter, like go down these stairs into this dark hallway with all these documents like posted on glass walls on both sides as they sit there and just look at them all, just looking for the moment where it's like Trump had sex with a minor. Oh, there it is. I was looking for that. I knew it was in these fucking 2 million documents or whatever. That's what you know what? I don't even need to read the rest of this. Forget the fact that this probably includes like hundreds of other really important people in our world, probably 20 to 30 other congressmen that I'm serving with right now. I'm not worried about that. I got that Trump moment. That's all I needed. And it's probably not even there, but that's really what they're all lining up to go see. Am I right?
Well, I hope I don't take any of the wind out of the sails for the segment here, but because I've said this on the podcast before. So Epstein's investigation began do you guys know when it began? 2006. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We're in 2026.
Wow.
2006 is when all of this started. Now, again, I think we talked about this offline, but they've made movies about this guy, right? So
multiple.
Yeah. Go on to Netflix. Netflix, pay us for the plug, fuckers. Everybody else, just like and subscribe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this will tie in right here. I'm just sorry if I take the wind out of the sails, but so 20 plus years of investigating this. All right, what have we just been talking about for the last 20 minutes here? AI.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the most powerful AI on the planet?
The government.
Government.
100%.
United States government. Absolutely. Do you think that the government took all of these documents and plugged them into an AI and because there's, millions of pages. So
yes,
do you think that it's been fed in AI? Okay,
Yeah,
multiple times.
Okay, so do you think that AI could figure out if there is anything in there actionable in terms of then going to a grand jury to then initiate a criminal charge against somebody to bring them to court?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Okay, so sorry, people that are out there just waiting on the edge of the seat, out there knowing this or feeling that, oh my God, Trump this, Trump that, blah, blah, blah. The AI tech wasn't just invented yesterday. They had it during the Biden administration. If there was anything in there, they took this guy into court for all kinds of crazy shit that they probably used AI to figure out. Like, well, he misvalued a property of his. We might be able to dust off this old crime and this old law and charge him with a crime here for this thing.
Well, here I got an idea. Actually, let's just look at something. Hey, Grok, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Kind of buzzing, honestly. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
What is she drinking?
Hey, can you tell me how many times Epstein Files have been uploaded into you in order to get an answer?
Haha, 0. Nobody snuck any Epstein Files into my brain. I'm not built like that. I pull from public info, news, and whatever's out there on the web. No secret dossiers here.
Okay.
What's on your mind about
How many times has somebody asked you to give them information on the Epstein case based off of information online and that you're able to search?
Yeah, plenty. People ask about Epstein all the time. I can pull from what's out there. Court docs, news reports, flight logs, the whole public mess. No hidden files, just whatever's searchable online.
Can you tell
Want
us
me
how
to
many
dig into
times
something?
people ask you in a given day?
Honestly, I don't keep a tally. It's not like I have a little counter ticking away. But yeah, on a busy day like
I was
today,
really hoping
I
she would
guess
give us,
dozens.
some actual figures on
So-
it's being searched
and
millions of times.
This is just grok. I promise you, the DOJ has.
Of
has
course, I'm
tech
not even looking
to-
for that. But what I am saying is, like, even when the initial batch of the JFK files was released after Trump took presidency and released those,
right,
like immediately the first thing everybody did was take those documents and upload them into AI to try and get because nobody wants to read through millions of pointless documents. Like, let's not forget, like when they release, let's say they release 20,000 documents, 19,975 of them are
Useless.
like, I drove over to this building. I was there. I conducted a search, found absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's a document that's going to be out there. Very rarely is there an actual interview with somebody that's not already been posted, not already been talked about, not only deep dived into millions of times, right?
Yeah. And I'm not, I'm not Trump's PR team, and I'm not, super Trump fan. I mean, if the dude may be disgusting for a million different reasons, he may be great for a million reasons. I don't know what dude has done in his personal life. Like, I have no idea. If he has victimized children, then I think, he should be destroyed. I've never seen any evidence that indicates that. Anything like, and, do I have suspicions about activity? Sure, we all have suspicions, but I just have enough faith in our system here that it doesn't matter. I mean, if you look at Epstein himself, I mean, the guy was beyond wealthy. We talk about how, well, the rich and powerful get away with things. That guy didn't get away with shit. Like, that guy was arrested several times for this, ended up in prison, ended up dead, which is also questionable too. But like, you're talking about a guy who, rubbed elbows with the most powerful people on the planet and chauffeured them around in his fucking plane. The guy owned a fucking island.
Right.
Like, so the rich and powerful, do they get away with shit? Yeah, but
not to the lengths everybody thinks they do.
Not to the extent like you see on television and movies and shit like that.
Let's be honest. How much do Democrats absolutely despise and hate Donald Trump?
Yeah, that's all they have right now.
So if they had access to the unredacted files and there was an instance of like Donald Trump had sex with a teenager, how long do we think they would keep that quiet?
If like 10 seconds.
Right, and that's to get out of the building so that they don't get freaking, there's just nothing in these files. Is there a lot of sick shit? Does it probably include some former presidents? Yeah, absolutely. Does it? Are a lot of people going to go to jail? No, frankly, they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Epstein's dead. Maxwell obviously didn't have anything worth noting. Otherwise,
She's in
she would
prison
be
too.
out. Right. Well, she would be out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Oh, she'd make a deal, is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. If you were doing life in prison and you're used to a life of traveling on yachts, private planes, all this stuff, and somebody, and let's say Donald Trump comes to you and says, "Hey, look, just give me a list of like 5 or 6 of the most polarizing people on this list. Show me the video evidence of them doing some fucking sick shit. I'll let you out of prison." Do you think she'd be like, "Well, I'd rather not do that. That's not what Jeffrey would want"?
Yeah. Well,
no,
she
she'd
does
be on
get
the
a dog.
first button out.
She has a dog though.
She does have a dog in
she
prison.
Has a dog. So
so she had something.
Yeah, she did negotiate a dog.
That's I feel like this is just something that gets periodically thrown out there to get one side of someone's base excited and to think that there's something more out there. Whether it's Trump saying it's because Biden, nobody's ever said Biden's on the list, but it's either the right or the left. When the Democrats didn't want to spend any time on it, it was the Republicans' talking point. It was Trump's election talking point. When there wasn't really anything there, I think Trump really figured out like there's really nothing really exciting here, like that's going to get anybody excited. Then it was the Democrats' talking point.
The noise is all politically driven because we had video. And we have Biden himself talking about, sitting with his legs in the pool with, kids rubbing the hair on his legs.
Nobody
and everything.
did anything.
Nobody is concerned about that at all.
Well, and I think that, I think that has a lot to do with the lack of coverage on all of this when it was actually occurring.
Right.
We're going to talk about our top 5 scandals. And when we bring those up, there's a couple that didn't make the list because we kind of made it more political tonight just because we wanted to shorten. It's really hard to find it. There's a lot of scandals out there.
Sure. I mean, we can do a whole episode just on 5 scandals.
Some of the celebrity scandals. One of them was the Michael Jackson scandal that took place in my childhood era. I'm not shy about saying I was the biggest Michael Jackson fan of all time. I would have happily gone to Netherlands. Okay, but not to be touched. But to enjoy that awesome park in Southern California.
Show me on this can of Jesus juice where he touched you.
But it's just interesting. Like, let's just think about that for a moment because you might not remember, Evan, but that consumed the news at that point. There was less information or less factual evidence presented in that case than there was in this Epstein case multiple times, right? Like, through the initial investigations of Epstein, hundreds of documentations of what this dude was doing was illegal. And it took forever to put him behind bars. And there was really limited news coverage of it because otherwise he would have been required to have answered to most of his crimes prior to here we are in 2024, I think was when he was killed, right? Meanwhile, Michael Jackson was on every single news channel night and day, 24/7, news camped out at his house. Kids being thrown out in front of the TV cameras left and right. Nobody cared about the victims at that point. There was parents shoving their 8-year-old kid in front of them to say that they might have seen his penis. They might have shared a bed with him. They might have done this, might have done that. Like, no wonder those kids later made a documentary about being fucked up because they don't even know what's real or not. Let's be honest. Those parents use those as cash grab. I mean, some of those guys got $20 million plus in settlements just to make it go away with zero evidence at all. But the fact that Jackson put himself out there in harm's way by inviting these kids and like letting these kids be a part of his life, you really couldn't answer for that.
There is a predatory I'm going to get paid element of all of this. Like there's a new there is a new allegation of some woman who when was a teenager was
smacked or something after she wouldn't have sex with him.
I saw
so
that. That's a new one. Which it could have happened. I have no information that says that it didn't.
Well, the thing about it too is the allegation is that he was introduced or she was introduced to Trump by Epstein in the 80s when she was a minor.
Yep.
But it doesn't say when she was slapped for refusing to have sex with him. It could have been 5 years later when she was 22.
So that's
or if it even actually took place.
That's the press element is definitely going to give you, it's the clickbait element of it, right, to get you interested. And if you haven't heard about this, it's the most recent allegation. And to that point, introduced when she was a minor. And then, then hit her and then made some sort of comment. So, did it happen? It might have happened. And, I would love to know. We don't know.
Right.
But it could also be that this this person could also have said, well, here's an easy way to get paid. Anybody that's ever dealt with lawyers and understand how they work based off of money. And, in the case of what it would cost a wealthy person to combat, an allegation like that, that may cost them $3 million in attorney fees just to, go to court 2 times, in which they say, well, rather than paying $3 million, why don't we make this person an offer of, let's say, $800,000 and you just go away. And if that person has, $2,000 in their bank account, $802,000 in the bank account can change my life.
Yeah.
So there, one interesting note on that, and then we can move on, is that, did you hear about the bill that they have that's going in about the no NDAs for these types of settlements?
No, I did not.
Yeah, there's a active bill. I meant to make a note and bring it up, so I'm kind of bringing it half baked. So I apologize for that.
I'll ask ChatGPT what they think about.
Why don't we
this.
ask AI? Like I said, I use it to make sure it's not the Mandela effect in my own mind here. But
let's see. Okay, so this is actually the law. This shows it was a 2018 law. So you're saying there's something new? Because in 2018, Congress passed the Congressional Accountability Act, Reform Act in 2018. The law was created after the Me Too scandals involving members of Congress.
That's not it.
Yeah. Ended secret taxpayer-funded settlements, required members of Congress to personally repay the settlements, made complaints, investigations now more transparent. Okay. Another law in 222, they passed a Speak Out Act. This law makes NDAs
here's it. I have it here.
Unenforceable for sexual acts of harassment despite being incurred, meaning companies or organizations can't silence victims for misconduct through pre-signed NDAs.
Yeah, that's not it.
Okay, what do you got?
This is being introduced by Ted Cruz, and it's called Trey's Law. And so if you search that,
yeah, I'm going to Trey's Law.
Yeah, Trey, Trey's Law. And it's a federal bill that would render non-disclosure agreements unenforceable to prevent victims from disclosing sexual abuse of a minor in or related facts. So this impacts this sort of opportunity area of payoffs and then concealing these things.
So this is saying you could take the money and still talk.
So you can take the money and still talk, but it negates this whole thing, which I think,
this is great. This goes a little bit into kind of, did you guys see Tim Tebow speak in front of Congress? So this is something that you see periodically, and this goes into the Epstein thing, where these celebrities start their own kind of like child investigations, child rape investigations and things like that. They start these own little nonprofit organizations. And I think, anybody that knows Tim Tebow, he's a religious man, thinks that this is a way for him to help those who are not being helped or can't help themselves, is the way that he describes it. So during this, they're in front of Congress, and he's talking about the teams of people that are helping him kind of find these and hurt these people, right? But wait till you see what he brings up during this. So this is just a little snippet of his hearing.
Profit NGOs are doing all around the world. The number is not 57,000 like we said 2 years ago. It's over 89,000. We are losing the battle and we are losing the war, and boys and girls are suffering for it. And to give you an idea of the scope of what's happening in America, there's a red dot map right over there over my right shoulder, and that's just a 6-month screenshot of the US. And every red dot that is on there is someone that is downloading, sharing, or distributing child rape images, almost all under the age of 12. And there's over 330 of them just in that 6-month screenshot. And we know that 55 to 85% of them are also hands-on offenders, and we know that your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime. The scale of harm right here in America is, to a certain extent, hard to comprehend, but that's why we're here. And when you knock down one of those doors, you also have no idea how many boys and girls you're going to find. From Operation Renewed Hope 1, one of the doors that was knocked down, when they went in and seized his computer, they found that he also had raped 30 other boys and girls in that neighborhood. Jesus. So there's a lot of work to do. And Ranking Member Durman, you're right. We have to be able to act. A little over a year ago, I was at one of our protection centers, and a protection center has extra security because there's still a bounty and a price on these girls and young women's lives. And I was walking through the counseling rooms, and I walk up to one of the counseling rooms, and it's this beautiful couch, and it's got teddy bears and toys and children's books in it. And right behind the couch, there's a window. And right behind the window is the wall, and it's the edge of the protection center. I look up to the top of the wall, and it's the razor wire all the way around the top. And I'm just looking at this picture, and it's a surreal picture because inside, those girls are gonna be cherished and loved and protected and cared for. But on the outside, they went through an earthly form of hell. And I'm standing there looking at this picture, and one of our team members comes and whispers in my ear as I'm looking at this picture. And he said, man, isn't it such a thin line between tortured and treasured? And he was right. It is a thin line between tortured and treasured. And you are that thin line. And all of you are that thin line. But we have to have more people on that line, and we have to do a whole lot more, and we have to do it faster. Because every day we wait, they're suffering, they're crying, and I believe right now many of them are praying that we would respond. But how are we really going to respond? Because I ultimately also believe that this is what we're called to do. And what is calling me, and in my opinion, the best definition is an urgent and divine invitation to accept responsibility for a particular task. But the question is, will we actually accept the responsibility of caring for these boys and girls and truly protecting them, or are we just gonna continue to talk about it? Because there's so much we can do, but the question is, will we?
So that was the way that he's so well spoken, dude.
And very passionate about this subject.
And it's easy to tell that, right? Because if I don't even remember who was the guy who got punked, Ashton Kutcher. I don't know if you remember. He spoke in front of Congress probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And I've talked
He's
about. He's
also a pretty sharp guy too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I've talked about
despite his movies.
I've talked about Tim Kennedy as well, former Delta soldier and stuff like that. And it's amazing how much data that these teams and these people are able to get, where they're basically able to say, "Hey, look, these 6 houses house some of the worst people in the world who are doing this, and there's not enough there to go in and get it." And it just goes to show, like, when we allow things like this Epstein file and all the shit that happened to kind of go untouched, it makes you wonder, like, is Congress really the right people? You know, my wife made a comment when I was showing her this video. She's like, yeah, how many of the people in that fucking room are a part of those people?
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have too much power and too much money.
Well,
right?
Congress just blocked the release of all the sexual allegation reports, the publicization of all the reports of complaints against the Congress itself, both the House and the Senate. Like, so the same people that have been pushing to get all these Epstein files out, they don't want their own files out.
Well, and that just goes to show, like, as a population, as an Americans, we need to do a better job of who we're putting into office.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, I don't need a guy who's got 20 years of political experience to go be our senator. Vote for Joe down the street, who's your local mechanic, who, when you go in there, you know, has his wife and his kids helping him out in the back room and is always polite to you and takes care of you. Like, these are the kind of people, this is what America was founded on. Like, these are the people that are supposed to be running our country, not the guy who's a multimillionaire who finds his way into a congressional seat so that he can then steer certain policies away that get him to become more and more rich, you know, whether it's to back his business or for him to, you know, take money to back Israel or whoever these, like, and I can't imagine if a regular person actually got in there and they were like, hey, for instance, if I were to get elected to Congress, I would be like, I will go live 24/7. I will have somebody follow me around.
Let's put body cams on them.
TikTok live this shit so that at any point in time you could see what fucking I'm approached with. And I guarantee you, people would run.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd probably be like people would be like, stay away from that fucking dude. And I would be walking by myself everywhere all the time because congressmen, women would be so afraid of what was going to actually get out there. You know, we talk about AOC and how she got elected. Like, she's a fucking bartender from fucking Brooklyn.
She's so hot, though.
She could have went in there and actually made a difference for the people in Brooklyn that she was supposed to be representing, right? The lower class, the non-power elites of New York. And instead, she's become just as fucking comparable to all this shit as anybody else. and it's now about how famous she can get, how much money
Yeah.
she can make. She'll never be a fucking president, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But she'll always be in the news.
I'll role play it with her if she'd like.
But it's sick to see. I was going to try to pull up the map of I thought I know he pulls it up during it, but it's essentially like a red dot map of like the entire, I will say most of it's Middle Eastern as well, not towards the West.
Of the U.S. or Middle East?
Yeah, Middle East of the U.S. Yeah, because he's no wonder we're bombing Iran.
He said the upper Middle East. That made me think of from Anchorman, the weather guy.
I want you to tell me about this map.
Yeah,
Every one of those red dots is a unique IP address that is downloading, sharing, and distributing on peer-to-peer networks child rape and abuse and exploitation images of children under the age of 12. Thousands of those will be babies and toddlers. On this map, there's over 111,000 unique
Well, in all
IP
fairness,
addresses.
the plains is completely unpopulated through that
Sure,
whole
of
area.
course.
So that's
but it's
that's
just
a little,
you look at the East Coast though versus the West Coast, and
I'm
it is
telling
like
you,
disgusting.
Here, Ohio is fully covered. That's a little concerning.
It's very concerning, dude.
Fun fact on that. Here's what my dad told me the other day. So my last home that I lived in Southern California before moving here, my dad asked me the other day. He says, "Hey, you have any idea who moved into your old house?" And I said, "Well, I mean, I said, Dad, I sold it, 10 years ago when I moved." And
Right.
this, that, and the other thing. He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I just got an alert. There's a Megan's Law alert. There's a sex offender living in your old house."
Wow.
So my old house is 3 blocks away from my dad's house. Like they have to drive past my house to get to their house. So my parents always knew when I was dating someone new, by the way, but yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk more about it. We'll get into our top 5 scandals real quick because I've got 4 minutes left. We're gonna have to rush this so we can get to EvanSnaps. All right, but top 5 scandals. I want to hear your guys' top 5 scandals. I want to hear what your guys' feedback is on ours. But here we go, guys' night top 5 powerful political scandals. I've got one is Snowden. Because the idea that right now the CIA could be watching my computer, watching me on video is fucking scary. It's amazing how we forget that, I feel like, because he's been in hiding for so long.
Yeah.
There's been movies about it. That's definitely my number 1. Number 2, I think the Clintons, just in general, from Bill getting blowjobs in the fucking White House. To now everything that's coming out, him being questioned in Congress. And I know you had a video we wanted to play. We're not gonna have time tonight, but maybe we'll
it's
reflash
super
it.
short. He gives his moment. It's funny you bring him up. All right,
let's pull this up real quick.
My question's as quick
Right
and
there.
as painless as possible so we can move on with the day and hopefully not keep you here for too long. First question I have for you, Mr. President. Have you ever lied in a deposition?
No.
Have you ever lied while under oath?
No.
Thank you.
Pause it right there.
Were you
What's the first thing you do when you become president of the United States?
Take an oath.
Swear an oath.
Right.
Did he ever lie under oath?
Yeah, of course.
Well, he just lied under oath right there about lying under oath,
Right.
motherfucker.
Is that what you wanted to share with me? Is that it? Or are we gonna listen to the rest of this?
Boom! You don't have to play any additional of it, but just for all of you, and let me tell you, I voted for Billy both times. So, was he the right guy for the job at the time? Absolutely, but this guy's full of fucking shit.
Yeah, and the Clintons are fucking crazy. All right, the last 3 that I've got on this top 5, I've got Project Chaos, which if you haven't read the book Chaos, you should definitely do it. And it ends with the Manson clan, but it goes way further back into the shit that we did as far as our own, basically. Black Flag ops, as far as the way that we involved the Black Panthers and the stuff that we did then and how we infiltrated them, Martin Luther King, a lot of the different stuff. And the fact that our government has always been involving themselves into our daily lives as any way they can to basically get their narrative pitched.
I'm sorry, I didn't put this on the list. The Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you don't know anything about the Tuskegee experiment, go do some fucking research, people.
Amazing. And that's actually a great one that you brought up. We'll put that in the top 5 as well because of when we had the guys on for Juneteenth and they talked about it because they found one of the Tuskegee Airmen lives in Elyria, still alive today. So they did a great story on it. Make sure you check out that podcast too if you want to see it. I'll put a link to the top up there. Watergate, 100%. You've got a great story coming out on that too right now, right? So when's that getting released?
I'm working on that video. I intend to have that out within a week. But obviously in the White House right now, pretty polarizing stuff in our world right now. I'll make a pretty bold statement right here. Richard Nixon, the most polarizing person to ever walk into the White House ever. And most people only remember him by this scandal. But yeah, when you watch the video, and I'll have some shorts out of it with the fine line, because there's a lot of personal stuff in there because I'm out there with the guys that, you know, went to school with and everything. But there's some interesting stuff that plays all the way into things happening in Iran right now that were during his presidency, and China. Like, our trade with China right now wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Nixon. Most people don't realize that. They just think, oh, these countries have been trading stuff back and forth for a while. But quick side note, how much do you guys think is traded between the U.S. and China in any given year?
Oh my God, we just
billions.
Did this. It's well, one way or the other, because I know, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 11 billion of us acquiring from them, and them like tenth of that going to them. Maybe
it's a lot more. Yeah,
it's you're right. It was trillions.
It's close. It's $750 of $1 trillion in both directions, but predominantly, like, they take like maybe 120 billion worth of stuff from us. Like, you know, it's mostly Chevy Camaros.
Well, we did a story on that too, because originally, because remember, Nancy Pelosi was against the trade deal with China because she knew it was going to take jobs before she became old and decrepit as well. So and then we got a couple of honorable mentions: weapons of mass destruction and COVID. I think those two kind of intertwine into everything. But there's been some pretty huge political scandals involving us.
I got a funny one.
Oh,
that David might like. What about Janet Jackson's Super Bowl?
I can't help this guy.
The Slipple?
Dude, I can't even with you, bro. Political scandal somehow turns into Janet Jackson's Slipple. The level of paying attention, is going to make this one. All right, so we're going to end the show on this tonight, guys. It's the second episode or second night. We're going to do EvanSnaps versus AI. You can see what AI is fighting here. So now you know what EvanSnaps is capable of. All right,
goofiness and fun stuff.
All right, so in this week's episode of Evan AI, are you ready?
Yes.
Focus.
I'm trying to focus.
Because you just said some dumb shit, so I want you to focus on some smart shit. That has nothing to do with political controversy.
I don't care. It's still scandal.
This is how I prepare for this episode. If you talked more during the episode, people would laugh a lot more. All right, Evan. This week's task. Are you?
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready for this week's task?
Let's go.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay.
All right, ready. Now, this week we're going to give you and AI the opportunity to plan for the challenge. The challenge is, all right, you have to spend 7 days in the Canadian wilderness in December, dressed in just the clothes you're wearing right now. And you can bring 5 things with you. What are the 5 items you would bring with you to survive 7 days in December in the Canadian wilderness?
A knife. A military grade knife.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna take note of these things here. Okay, so number 1 is a military grade knife, and there's no do-overs, no take-backs.
Yeah, military grade.
So that's number 1.
I like how he took 5 seconds to think about that, but okay.
That, and then I would also take. What's it called? What is that tarp called when it's thermal?
A
blanket?
thermal tarp or a blanket? A thermal blanket?
No, it's a tarp. Thermal tarp.
Okay, thermal tarp. Okay.
And
how big is this tarp?
Probably about 6 foot. 6 foot by 5 foot.
6 foot by 5.
Very
okay,
specific.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
All right.
And then
wait, how tall are you, Evan?
5'11". Okay. 6 foot.
So it'll cover him. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Also, metal wire.
Metal wire.
How
Okay.
much metal wire?
A spool
A
of it.
spool. All right.
Spool of metal
50
wire.
feet?
Let's say 10 feet.
Oh,
10
10
feet.
feet. Okay.
10 feet
10
on a
feet of metal wire.
Okay. All right. We got two more.
Okay, two more. We're probably. God, I'm trying to think what else. Because I used to watch these survival shows.
Yeah.
I could tell.
All right.
God, what else? Trying to think. God.
I may start crying again, by the way.
I'm just picturing Evan carrying around a spool of wire with his fucking knife and just walking through the woods, carrying it with his blanket over his head. It's December in the fucking.
It's a thermal tarp, 6x5, first of all. All right,
All
Evan,
right.
two more.
God, I'm trying to think. What else?
I know I'm not bringing Evan as one of my 5 items.
God, I'm trying to think because there's multiple.
7 days, bro.
7 days. God. God, Jesus. Oh, probably a flint.
Okay.
Flint's good.
Flint's
all right.
good. Nice.
And then probably the last thing would probably
Probably.
what do they call it? Oh, life straws.
What?
Life straw? Like the cup that you fill with water?
No. Just look up what the life straw is.
I know what a life straw is. I have 2 of them. It's a freaking water bottle with a straw.
No. It's a life straw. Just look it up.
Evan, Life Straw is the name of the company. It makes a water bottle that you could fill with regular water and drink out of. It filters your water.
But this one is
You just want the straw, not the bottle.
No, it filters water through like all these different things.
Evan, I'm
Okay, here. It's a Life Straw is an award-winning 2-ounce portable water filter designed for hiking, camping, and emergencies. Is this the thing you're talking? Okay.
Oh, so you don't want the whole water bottle. You just want this little bit of
filter. So you put pond water in it, and it'll make it drinking water.
So that's actually the way that the bottle works. I don't know. You can literally just. I took it.
No,
with
this
me
thing
when
is
I-
like a thick straw, and you can suck through up to like 10 days of
How
water.
many slipples, first of all? Okay.
Slipples.
All right.
All right,
Now,
can you
hold on.
Let's
Now-
review Evan's 5 items, please.
Okay, yeah. Let's do this. And then
7 days in the Canadian wilderness.
And he is going to bring a military grade knife. Good call. He is going to bring a thermal tarp that is 6 foot by 5 feet. He is going to bring a metal wire in a spool that is 10 feet. He's going to bring a flint, and he's going to bring a Life Straw water filter. Now, I do just want to point one thing out, Evan.
He's probably not going to make 24 hours.
I don't think he's going to make like 4 hours, first of all. Well, first of all, there's 2 things on this list that I know that you depend on in your life every day. One is pancakes, and number 2 is insulin.
I was like,
Well, I'd
even
say
even
it's-
even
that's not on
before-
your list. You're dead, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying if you are a normal function person.
No, this was for EvanSnaps. All right,
Oh
so
my
all
God.
right, I'm gonna ask Grok, and we have to let Grok finish speaking because last time I didn't finish speaking. So, all right, Grok, are you there?
Still here? Yeah, I'm right where you left me. What's up?
All right, I need you to list 5 items that you would bring with you if you were 1, a diabetic.
Oh God.
2, you were going to spend 1 week in the Canadian wilderness with only the clothes on your back, which is a t-shirt, jeans, regular tennis shoes, and socks and underwear. But you can only bring 5 additional items to that to last 1 week in the Canadian wilderness in December. What would those 5 items be and why?
If I were diabetic and stuck in the Canadian wilderness in December, think -20 Celsius, snow up to my knees, no shelter. I'd prioritize survival first, blood sugar second. Here's my 5-item list, no fluff. 1, insulin pens with extra needles, keeps me alive. Cold can degrade insulin, so I'd wrap them in my socks against my body to stay warm. 1 pen lasts about a week if I ration carbs hard, no room for error. 2, emergency blanket, space blanket. Thin, folds tiny, reflects 90% of body heat. I'd wrap it around me at night or use it as a windbreak. Without it, hypothermia hits fast, especially with low blood sugar slowing me down. 3, waterproof lighter, plus fire starter, like a ferro rod. Fire means warmth, meltable snow for water, and a way to signal. December nights drop below 0. I'd rather burn calories starting a fire than freeze. 4, high-calorie glucose tabs, plus jerky, fast sugar if I crash, plus protein to stretch meals. Jerky won't freeze solid like fruit bars do. I'd eat small, steady. Diabetes hates starvation. 5. Multi-tool knife, cut wood, gut fish, carve a snow shelter, open cans if I luck into anything. It's the Swiss Army of wilderness. Light, tough, does everything else I can't. Everything else, I'd improvise. Clothes on my back are trash for winter. Jeans freeze stiff. Tennis shoes are death. But these 5 could keep me breathing till rescue.
Well, how about that, Evan? So, I mean, you got 2 of the 5 things on the list. Insulin pins, though, I think that automatically makes you lose because I'm pretty sure you'd be dead within about 12 to 15
Well, you didn't
hours.
specifically say I was
Specifically?
say that I was supposed to be diabetic out there. I was thinking
You're the one who's diabetic. You're stuck in the woods.
I will never be stuck in the woods because I'm diabetic.
All right, guys, we got to end on that because my wife is ready to call it a night and we got to go. But hey, thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the format. We're trying something new. We're going to try to get here on time next week, right, Evan? So that you don't die in the Canadian wilderness. Maybe we should just start threatening him with we're going to drop him off in the Canadian wilderness if he shows. Actually, I'll just drop you off in my backyard for 7 days and see you forest for
The
food.
dogs will eat me before that.
But in this week's version of Evan vs. AI, you made it at least interesting. You got 2 of the top 5, so congratulations on all your success. David, got anything to end on?
I was gonna have the Slipple video.
I was just gonna say Slipple. Should we end on a Slipple?
Slipple video.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good one.
Oh my gosh. Good night, everybody.
Slipples.